This show is back. I'm Cody Carpentier, joined as always by the main man, Matty Kiwoom. College football playoffs around the corner. We're talking hours, not days or weeks anymore. It's coming right down around the bend. Friday night football, Saturday football, college and NFL. Matty, we're in the midst,
The midst.
the middle.
We're in the thick.
We're the thick of a long stretch of watching football on the television every single day from December 11th until January 4th. There's a football game on the television. If you're watching this on Wednesday night, it's Old Dominion in South Florida or Louisiana and not Louisville, Louisiana and Delaware also on the television, but bigger games coming this weekend. NFL's on Saturday, yada, 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 yada. Let's start with the quarterback group, though, because the transfer portal doesn't technically start for 2 more weeks, but there's this thing called CBA, and it doesn't exist in college football right now, Matty.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want it to exist for some reason. They're like, that's business, that's, employees. But what they don't realize is, tampering is taboo, right?
Yeah.
You're not allowed to tamper. You're not allowed to go out and talk to these guys. But you know what's happening right now is literally everybody is tampering with everybody.
Yeah.
Except for Dabo Sweeney. He's the only one that's like, on January 2nd, we're going to come in, we're going to have a big meeting, and we're going to look at some dudes. And everybody else is like, so like 1,000 dudes have gotten the portal in the last 24, 48 hours. And there's ways to figure out who's communicating with who, and they're sourcing, and there's people that are saying, you think it's not tampering when it goes, so-and-so's entered the portal, and then within an hour, there's an article written about said player, and don't look at Texas Tech, look at Louisville, or look at X school. It's like, wait, hold up. So nobody from that school is talking to you, but that's not tampering? Okay, anyways. We're living in the gray area of college football right now, and it's because there's no CBA, but I think it will come around the bend sooner than later if you listen to the right people. But the point of bringing that up is just this. There's been quite a few quarterback situations, I guess, sort of starting to lay themselves out. If you've been following the Senior Bowl, Shrine Bowl announcements, that's been massive the last day or two as far as guys that are announcing other positions, not mainly quarterbacks, but other positions, who's coming out, going to the Senior Bowl, who's going to the Shrine Bowl. We're starting to get some good sized rosters for both events as far as receiver, running back, tight end, O-line, some DBs, et cetera, et cetera. But the most notable thing, I guess, is a couple of these guys that are coming back at the quarterback position. Brennan Sorsby, who was at Indiana, now is at Cincinnati, has jumped back in the portal. There's still time for him to declare for the draft in a class that's kind of shallow right now, but he's kind of in the Cam Ward spot. He's kind of in a spot where he's the belle of the ball right now. Like Dylan Raiola, DJ Legway are there as well as underclassmen. But Sorsby's the one that's, everybody wants Sorsby right now. Could he go to Tech? Could he go to Miami? Could he go back to Indiana? Or could he go pro? Could he do the thing where it's like, I'm going to go pro, and then maybe at the last minute, kind of like Cam Ward, pull back and say, I'm gonna go back to college, make $1 million, try to win a championship, win the Heisman, yada yada. So Sorsby's in the portal, and then we had a return from. Why is my brain now going? I was about to kick it to you, and my brain just went muck.
Jordan
Mailata, your guy, said he's going to resign and go back to USC. And then the third one I want to bring up is I do some work at Orange Bloods, and I do behind enemy lines, and I did some Oklahoma stuff. And there's been no saying what's going to happen, but a lot of the Oklahoma people are of the belief that they're going to be in the conversation for Drew Mestamaker from North Texas, or that they could potentially be in the conversation for Sorsby at Oklahoma. So there's this overwhelming belief that Mateer's not going to be back in Oklahoma from at least the fan base.
Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as this sometimes. There's a huge void for QB2 in the class. We don't know who it is. As of right now, depends on who declares. But if, let's just say no one does, who's QB2? Garrett Nussmeier? Cade Klubnik by default? Maybe. Carson Beck? I mean, yeah, it could be Carson Beck. But either way, someone in this pool, this playoff pool, is going to shine through, whether it be Mateer, whether it be Dante Moore, whether it be Ty Simpson. Someone is going to shine through. And I am of the belief that whoever that person is will declare. And then that might be it. I don't see 3 first-round quarterbacks. Maybe we do if we get everyone declares. Let's say Mateer, Simpson, and Moore all declare. Maybe we do end up getting 3 with Mendoza because we know Mendoza is going to go. You don't just pitch a perfect game and then go back and just risk it all. You're going to go. He's going to go first overall pick. We know that. So it just depends on who's going to be QB2. And I think there's, what is it? What are they called? The NFL Draft Council of Advice, whatever the hell it's called. There's a council of individuals that give these kids a chance to get some sort of idea of how the NFL sees them. And some kid is going to get the inclination to get the Boda conference, whatever it is from that council, that he's fringe QB, fringe round 1, QB2 in the class, and that kid will declare. Other than that, I don't see anyone else. So it doesn't surprise me that the transfer portal is going bananas right now. It doesn't surprise me that we're seeing kids go back. I mean, when you hear a lot of whispers that Darian Mensah might be the second best quarterback in the class, clearly there's a void of, hype around this position. So, seeing these guys go back, and I think Jaden Maeva was a great call for him to go back. He has a lot of good things in his profile. Working with Lincoln Riley for another season, he's top 10 in overall passing yards, over 9 yards a clip. That's a good metric I like to chase. And where he really can clean it up is a little bit more touchdowns, a little less picks. He was 23-8. Let's see, he gets at the 30-5. Now we're talking about a kid that could be in the first round conversation in a loaded class in 2027. So it was a good decision for him to go back. And I think what we know today will drastically change in a month. What we know in a month will drastically change in 5 months. And when we're talking in the summer, breaking down our favorite quarterbacks in the 2026 season, that is going to look wildly different when we do it again this time next year, because the kids going back are going to get the boat. They're going to be atop the rankings. Sellers and Lagway and Arch. Don't forget about Arch. All these guys that are going back will populate the top of rankings, but there'll be kids like Maeva and others that do pop through and shine through. It's kind of like what we're seeing Mendoza do right now.
It's interesting. I think that next year, I think we're probably going to have the same situation for the following year, but at minimum, that class next year looks like it's inevitable that it's going to have at least 4 dudes that are probably going to be top 10 picks as long as everything kind of unfolds right. It could be a 1983, it was an 83, and then 2024 reincarnate, where it's just like we're getting 2 of these mega classes almost back to back. It feels like
right.
27, which could be it is what the NFL needs. Like, we're looking into a year in 2026 in the NFL where, these are the quarterbacks that are going to be like, hey, if you need a quarterback, these are your options. It's literally going to be Kyler Murray, who's probably on his outs of Arizona, Fernando Mendoza, Daniel Jones, John Mateer, Tua, Garrett Nussmeier. Like, it's not great at all. And even if we like some of these guys, like, it's not what the NFL is going to be built. It's not, the density that we had in the early 2000s where everybody had at least a guy that could play football, right? And we've aged out of a lot of these older guys, right? Phillip Rivers hanging on this weekend, but
it's crazy.
But yeah, I think it's this next class could be what kind of saves the NFL from a quarterback perspective, where, a couple people on Twitter are like, Brissett's going to get the job next year in Arizona. And I'm like, I guess he's younger than Geno Smith.
He deserves. He's playing in that offense. He's earned it. And with this draft class that we're talking about, like, why reach on a QB? Take one in the third. Yep. Take one of these kids in the third. Take Beck in the third, day 2, whatever, and have him compete with Jacoby Brissett. Yeah. But I do. There's been a few cases where we talked about it when we talk about the GMs on the other show. You need that marriage, that synergy between head coach and quarterback, and there may not be a bigger disconnect than what's going down in Arizona and Kyler Murray. Because once we get a guy who just knows how to manage a damn offense, throw to an open receiver, we're seeing it take off. We're seeing that offense take off. So we'll see.
All right, let's get into the bulk of the show. We talked about quarterbacks. I wanted to get that done. But what we're going to do today is we're going to do a college football playoff player draft. No quarterbacks. We're going to do 6 rounds. So it's going to go back to back to back to back like this. So I'll get the 101. Matt, you get the 102, 201. I'll get the 202, 301, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
6 players.
Yep.
We're each going to have 4 offensive players, which is receiver, tight end, running back. And then we can have 2 defensive players. Scoring is point per reception on offense, point per tackle on defense. Everyone gets 6 points for a touchdown scored. Defenders get 6 points for any type of turnover, forced fumble, fumble recovery, interception, and then 3 points per sack.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be our scoring system here. We want to talk about a bevy of these players. We'll keep it nice, concise, under 30 minutes today for your beautiful weekend. If you're listening before the weekend or going into the weekend, whatever it may be. But it's got to be a player from the tournament, obviously.
Yes.
Can't be somebody from the Citrus Bowl. I can't pick Arch.
Yeah.
And you get them for the eternity. So if you draft players that are all on, Ohio State, Georgia, Indiana, and Tech, you don't get any points this weekend.
That's right. There's strategy to this. This is fun.
There's strategy to this because we're not playing like week 1, week 2, week 3. We're playing all together scoring, max scoring. And so we haven't exactly decided what the bet is. We haven't decided if it's going to be like, on the drive to Mobile, somebody has to ride on the roof for an hour or what, but we'll figure that out. But we're going to start 101. I'll start it out. I got a couple of players at my mind right now. And I think both of us probably immediately point to one player on a team that has a bye in Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably the play. I was thinking about a couple of the running backs. We talked about it before the show. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to snipe you because we talked about a player. That'd be a dick move. But I do have another running back in my mind. Hopefully he makes it back to me at the 202. But I'm going to go Jeremiah Smith, wide receiver, Ohio State, the maniacal one, 26 touchdowns in 28 games, 2,400 yards in 28 career games. Last year against Oregon in the quarterfinal, he went 7 for 187 and 2 in the quarterfinal game. Got locked down against Texas and then at 88 yards and a touchdown against Notre Dame in the championship game. So I believe Jeremiah Smith, who just got beat in the Biletnikoff Award voting again, and he's salty about it. Ohio State has the opportunity to get back to the national championship game in Miami, where he's from. So I'm looking at a 300-yard game in the championship from Jeremiah Smith.
That's a good pick. So there's a lot of strategy that goes into this because do you want the teams that play early, the teams that you project to play late, a little bit of both, huh? So I think Jeremiah Smith was the clear 101 because we're going to get one game, and I think this is a team that we can bet at least represent, a side in the national championship game. So you're going to get multiple games of Jeremiah Smith, and again, that's a good pick. So I'm up for 2. And I told you off air that I wanted the 102 for this specific reason, because I think you could make an argument for this player being the 101 in this type of draft, this type of format. So I'm going to take Kewan Lacey here. Yeah, Kewan, how do you say it exactly?
Kewan, yeah.
Kewan. I've always, names takes me a little while. Kewan Lacey, running back for Ole Miss. So unlike last year, the running backs in the playoffs are not nearly as good. I mean, last year we had Ginty, Heisman Trophy finalist. We had Jeremiah Love, this year's running back 1. We had both the kids at Penn State, both the kids at OSU. We had James at Oregon. I mean, we had so many good running backs this year. You look at these rosters, these teams, there's not going to be a lot of kids Sunday that play running back in this. I'm going to go with Lacey. He's, he checks all in terms of production on the year, leading the among some of the best rushers in the entire nation. He doesn't lead the nation in yards, but he's top 10. He's got 20 touchdowns. He's been a stud. Ole Miss doesn't have your guy, Lane Kiffin, so they're going to have to kind of do things on the run. They do have Weiss Jr. there. But the reason why I was very excited to get this player is because they have a layup in round 1. Ole Miss is going to potentially kick the dog shit out of Tulane on the back of Lacey. So that gives me at least 2 games of Kyron Lacey. And just based on just those 2, and maybe they get an upset and they move on. But with those 2 games locked in, I'm going to take Lacey. And the next guy I'm going to take, of course, comes down between a few wide receivers in my eyes. And I'm actually going to go with a receiver you may not be expecting here, but I'm going to go with Malachi Toney with my second pick.
Damn.
Malachi Toney, 12 receptions, 146 yards, 13 receptions, 126 yards in his last 2 contests. Again, Miami might be one and done. They got a really, really, really tough matchup in round 1 against Texas A&M, but Texas A&M secondary hasn't really been great. Their defensive unit hasn't been the best. So there's a chance for Miami with Carson Beck, who has the most experience in this tournament. He could light it up in week 1. And if I get a couple of games of Toney, I'll be very excited about it. So give me Lacey and give me Toney with my first 2 picks.
I'm going to go out and do something a little bit dangerous here. And if you've been tracking at home, Jeremiah Smith is class of 2027. Toney's class of 2028. Keywan Lacey will be class of 2027 as well. He's expected to stay in college more years. So we haven't talked about any 2026 guys. And I'm going to keep that trend going, I think, right here. And I'm going to go with a guy that has been a little bit banged up. He's slowed down a little bit the last month. But I think with the little bit of rest here, I'm going to go their side of the ball in that Miami Texas A&M game. I'm going to go Mario Craver.
Ooh.
This is probably not – is this one you had on the top of the list right now?
No, but he was on the list. He was definitely coming up.
So Craver, the reason I'm going Craver is because there's extreme dynamism here, and he's been banged up, like I said. Concepcion's been getting a bulk of the conversation at A&M. But if you go back early this year, some truly maniacal games. You go back to that Notre Dame game, 7 for 207 and a touchdown in that game. He hasn't had a touchdown since the Notre Dame game, right? At least I don't think he has. Yeah, he hasn't had one. He had one rushing against Mississippi State, his old team. But since then, he's kind of cooled completely off. He's now going to be, I think we're looking at about 23 days since the last game against Texas, and he had 5 of 44 in that game. I think Craver – I've went back and forth in this Miami A&M game all week in my bracket. Oklahoma A&M, Oklahoma Bama. I'm like, I tend to want to trust the Alabama thing, but I think Kalen DeBoer's name being included in the Michigan conversation is just a little
another distraction, man.
Distraction. Like I think Ty Simpson's going to do good, but he's going to face a hellacious defense in Norman at night. I kind of think Oklahoma takes that. This Miami A&M game though. And a noon kick, which I think is wrong. It should be a night game, but I get it. It's ESPN. It's their game. They don't want to give it to TNT. I get it. Miami and A&M. A&M's been talking a lot of trash. If Miami comes in and clicks, Miami has – this game could be 48-45. And if that happens, I think Craver's going to be a big part of that. And one of the reasons I keep clicking the A&M ticket or side of the button – for the bracket is I think that this offense, if they find a rhythm, Craver has 200 like this in his range of outcomes. And if A&M wins, I think A&M can play Ohio State tight as well. So I'm banking on at least getting a win here and potentially a second game against Ohio State.
Okay.
My second player, I think I'm going to stay in the early week 1 slate. And I'm going to go with the first player in the 2026 draft in this draft. And that's Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end.
Son of a bitch.
Was he there?
He was my next pick. He was lined up as my next pick. Yep.
Hell yeah. So Kenyon Sadiq has been like he Todd McShay has earlier this year questioned Kenyon Sadiq and how he was playing through the middle part of the season. And the last month or so, he started to pick it up against Rutgers, 480-2, Minnesota, 8 for 96-1, USC, 6 for 72-2, Washington, he was kind of sleepy, and now he's going to get this get back against James Madison. We're looking at a potential, 49-0 game at halftime. Then you get Texas Tech. I think that game's winnable. I'm not sleeping on Texas Tech. I know that defense is really good, but I think that's a winnable game for Oregon, even though maniacal stat here. Ready for this one? Oregon. If Oregon goes to the championship game, which means they would beat James Madison, they would beat Tech, they would probably beat Indiana, they would go to play Georgia in the national championship or Ohio State in the national championship. They would be hosting James Madison, traveling to Miami to play Texas Tech in the Orange Bowl, traveling to Atlanta to play in the Peach Bowl, and traveling back to Miami for the national championship. 15,000 miles flown in 20 days for this Oregon team if they do it. I'm going Kenyon Sadiq.
I think that's a good pick because you want to get that first weekend, juice, for lack of a better term. You want to make sure you get those points scored early. So I think that was a good play. I think that was a smart play. So now I have 2 picks. And I have some options. I like some of my options here. So he actually kind of left me with a tough thing here. So, but I'm actually going to break one of my ties based on what you said. And I'm going to go with Casey Concepcion for Texas A&M. Because that game could shoot out, because he has the dynamic ability to score touchdowns even in special teams. Do we get special teams touchdowns? I didn't even think of that. Yeah, we do. We have to.
You mean just touchdowns in general, yeah. Anybody, defense, offense, special teams, doesn't matter.
So I'm going to take that because you mentioned it could be a lot of points scored. And then you go, if A&M gets the upset, they go against Ohio State. That could be another potential shootout. Probably, obviously a tougher game for Concepcion. But I like Concepcion, so give me him. That kind of hedges my week 1 bet, or my, I get that shootout appeal, that correlation if you play DFS with Tony and Concepcion. Now, my last pick, there's so many guys that I want to talk about. So many guys I want to talk about. And I'm not going to just start blabbering about a bunch because you also have your last offensive player to be selected. So I don't want to step on any of your flames here. But I'm just going to go with my guy. He has a first-round bye, but he's going to be welcoming in the winner of Oklahoma and Alabama. So give me Elijah Surratt. He's a touchdown guy, 12 touchdowns on the season, tied for 3rd in the nation at receiver. So I'm going to go with my guy attached to the best quarterback in the playoff, and I'm going to go with my boy Elijah Surratt. But there was a lot of options for players to be selected, and I'm curious if you pick this guy, because one guy might go undrafted that if we would have left him off the schedule 2 months ago, we would have all been thrown in a loony bin.
Who are you thinking about? Carnell Tate?
He's one of them. He's the obvious one, but there's another guy.
I'm trying to think. Ryan Williams?
Ryan Williams has not been picked.
Yeah. That's not where I'm going.
No, it's tough because the targets aren't there. And if they're one and done, that's not a good pick to have. So yeah. I went with, I kind of hedged my bets. Like, one of my receivers has to come out. They're playing each other. One of my running backs definitely going to come out. They're not going to lose it to Tulane. And then I got my guy Surratt for the second round. So I've kind of loaded it the right way.
I'm going to go to Oregon.
Ooh.
For my last offensive player.
I think I know who you're picking. And this is the person you were talking about me potentially taking with my first 2 picks.
Yes. But I don't know if you know which one I'm taking.
Really? Okay.
I'm going running back. 6 foot, 236 pounds. Jordan Davison.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to go with Noah Whittington. That's what I thought.
No, I'm going Jordan
He's
Davison.
a pretty good producer this year for them. Okay. The younger guy.
So all 3 of these backs have gotten a lot of work this year. Deer Hill, Whittington, Jordan Davison.
Remember Malachi Hughes?
Makai Hughes. He's back in the portal.
Hughes?
He's probably
of course
he's probably going to go to like Florida or something back with.
He was in the portal 2 months ago.
Summerall. They also got Jaden Limmer. Like, they got a really good backfield here. And Davison is engulfing the touchdowns. They have 30 rushing touchdowns. He has 13. Mm-hmm. He's almost half the team's rushing touchdowns. And he's a freshman. And he's a dog. He's from Mater Dei. And he's had a lot of games this year where he doesn't quite get a lot of workload. He had one game where he got like a good bulk against Wisconsin, but he just happens to score, get opportunities to score down around the goal line because he's the biggest back of the group. Deer Hill's dynamo. I'd could have, potentially went in on that. These are all, we're talking about 2028 kids right here for the draft.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Jordan Davison, I'm leaning here because this James Madison game should get out of hand quick. And I think we could get a whole second, third quarter full of Jordan Davison, a couple of touchdowns where I'm talking a potentially like a 30 burger from Davison in round one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know I get round two. I love getting a running back in here. I debated potentially going like a Frazier from Georgia. I debated going to Bo Jackson from Ohio State, but the problem with doing that is that I would have put myself in a corner with two Ohio State kids and one Oregon, one A&M, and I could have bounced myself really quickly and had no shot at the championship. So I like two Oregon guys, a Miami guy, and an A&M guy. And then with my next pick, I'm going to go not on the I guess, what side of the bracket? How do you say that? The north side of the bracket?
Yeah, they need to define this a little bit more clearly because they separate it by bowl games, but that you need to be able to see it from both ends. They kind of have it all stacked together. I don't like it.
Yeah. I just kind of put that together in my head. I was like, wait, hold up. How do I decipher? I think what I want to do, I want to double check this really quickly. This defensive, let's just talk about this. Okay. So I forgot to keep track. Who'd you take after Concepcion?
So I have Tony, Concepcion, and then I took Surratt.
Elijah Surratt. Okay. And then I just took Davison.
So you're going to take a defender. I'm going to take two defenders. You're going to finish it off with a defender.
Okay. Sorry for the people listening. I totally was like listening to Maddie and not writing. And then now I'm in the spot where I forgot who was who.
You got to write and not listen. Yeah.
All right. So I'm sitting here at the 501. And as far as defense goes, I'm thinking about like, honestly, 6 different dudes.
Yeah.
And so just to reminder for scoring, it's point per tackle, 3 points for sacks, and 6 points for turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Without ankling to like what is the best play here. I think I should not overthink this.
Yeah, this is a clear 101 for defense.
Yeah, but I think he gets bounced.
That's fair.
Problem is if you think that they're going to win games. And I want a guy that I think is going to last a little bit.
Or you got to parlay that with something, man, maybe.
You know what I'm going to do, actually, is I'm going to get a piece of the Georgia defense, I think.
Okay.
I'm going to go C.J. Allen, linebacker, Georgia.
Okay, good pick. Good pick. We got to talk about. Yeah.
Good chance to be the first off-ball linebacker taken in this draft out of Georgia. C.J. Allen, we come into the draft this year. He's a junior. He came in with his name next to Anthony Hill's name from Texas. 85 tackles this year, 8 TFLs, 3.5 sacks, no picks, 1 forced fumble or 2 forced fumbles. Sorry, on this the leader of the Georgia defense. And I want to get a piece into that part of the bracket. You took Kawan Lacey. I think Georgia beats Ole Miss. I think Georgia potentially beats Ohio State. Georgia's my national champion against Oregon. So I want to get a piece of a player that I think could potentially play in 3 games here. And if C.J. Allen, if they do play in those 3 games, this is going to allow me to potentially get, 8 tackles a game, maybe a sack or a turnover. And I like where that puts me, just like a floor piece here in C.J. Allen. I know it's not the shiny piece in Rodriguez, who you're probably going to take here from Texas Tech, but I do like my feeling for C.J. Allen to last more than 1 game, which I can't say the same for Rodriguez.
No, I agree. That is the only hesitation, but I mean, I'm just going to take it because even in this 1 game, he could set my entire statistic, set me up my whole defense for the rest of the tournament. We talk about a kid with over 115 tackles, doesn't get a lot of sacks, but 7 turnovers, 4 interceptions. The guy's just been an absolute menace. And if you're going to go with a one and done type of guy, give me a guy that I won't use this weekend, so I know I get him next weekend, and give me a guy who could just have a fucking nutso game, go ballistic, and just really cash in for me there. So it's a risky pick, but I'm going to take it. And then the next one, I'm really just going to go smart here. I'm just going to go with the statistical approach. I'm going to go the thought process here. I'm not going to go with the guy that we're going to be talking about a ton from now to the Senior Bowl to the Combine, but I'm just going to go with Caden Curry from Ohio State. I'm going to go with Caden Curry. I'm not going to overthink it. Gives me a defender on the other side of the bracket. Gives me at least 2 weeks of both my defensive players, a guy that I do think plays all the way through the national championship, and then just came to my surprise. I didn't realize how good of a year he's having. 11 sacks, 60 total tackles. So let it ride, baby. Let it ride. Even has a forced fumble.
That's a great play. That was the pick.
Don't get me wrong, there's better defenders here. And you know how bad it pained me not to take my guy Bailey. But I can't go 2 Texas Tech defenders. That would kill me.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But Bailey could have 4, he could have 4 sacks in that game. Like, he could wreak havoc. That was the guy, huh?
Do I go edge or do I go DB?
You went linebacker, so I think you kind of, the way I saw it is you have to get a linebacker. You got yours, so I think you can kind of be flexible to how you go this next guy.
If I'm playing sacks, like I get the Bailey thing. I don't think Texas Tech wins. This is the whole theory behind this thing. I'm worried about A&M. I don't like Cassius Howell as much. I think Bain is interesting. Mesidor is interesting. Don't love them in this format. I love them as prospects and players. There's a conversation about Bain that needs to be had about his arm length and Howell for that matter. That's going around Twitter right now. R. Mason Thomas has been banged up. If you think Bama goes on a run, there's obviously opportunity in the Bama defense to go.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go here. I think I'm going to go to the Indiana defense. Louis Moore.
He was on my list. The interceptions was glaring.
I'm going to
go Louis Moore. I think he can play throughout. I like it.
6 picks on the year. 76 tackles on the year. Don't know a lot about him. He's from Mesquite, Texas. He's a senior. We'll talk about him through the pre-draft process, but I don't know a lot about him. But for this, the last pick, I'm going to go Louis Moore. He plays John Mateer in the first game that they're going to have, probably. John Mateer or Ty Simpson, both guys that have been rattled this year at certain times. Looking for a potential pick. Looking for a turnover. That's 6 points, a touchdown for me. And tackles on top of that. He's got 76 tackles on the year. The last couple of games done pretty well from that perspective. Interception against Ohio State, interception against Maryland the last month, 6 tackles against Wisconsin and Ohio State. I think this is a good pick here with Louis Moore. Don't know damn thing about him, but that's where I'm going to go.
Nope. Sometimes it's just smart to read the stats, go with the projections, and go with the guy who's going to score you fantasy points.
All right, so here's the teams. My team is Jeremiah Smith, wide receiver, Ohio State, Mario Craver, wide receiver, A&M, Kenyon Sadiq, tight end, Oregon, Jordan Davison, running back, Oregon, CJ Allen, linebacker, Georgia, and Louis Moore, DB, Indiana. You want to read off your team?
Yeah, I can read off my team. I'm going with Cohen Lake. I gotta get a name on this kid. K. Lacey, Kawan. I think it's Kawan. Kawan Lacey. Casey Concepcion, Malachi Tony, my guy Elijah Surratt, Jacob Rodriguez, and then I already forgot his name of the
Caden Curry.
Caden Curry, baby.
From Ohio State.
Ohio State.
I'll post out the graphic on Twitter. Hopefully we can get our boy Matty back on Twitter.
Yeah, help me get on Twitter, people. I can't. I'm not on Twitter. I've been blocked. I've been suspended now for the person who hacked it, got suspended. Now the email account has been compromised. I've tried to make new accounts and they get suspended right away because of it. So I've given up on X. Help me get my original.
Wait, you made a new account and it got suspended?
2 other ones. Yeah, 2 other ones.
You must have like a target on your house or something.
Yeah.
Your VPN.
Yeah, I got sucked into a certain algorithm that's not in my favor, and I haven't been able to swim my way out of it. So other people have. Our guy Alan Sislowski got his back. Was clicked on the same link that I did, so it's possible. You just got to get it to recognize your request at the right time or something. I haven't given up hope. I keep trying, but if anyone has a opportunity to help me out, just how about everybody watching this, write it in on X at Elon at Matty Kiwoom is who he says he is. Get him back on Twitter.
There we go. That's all we gotta do. We just gotta get to the Overlord Elon.
Get the Overlord.
Try to get our guy back on. All right, we love you guys. We appreciate you. We'll be back next week with a little bit more Christmas week NFL draft conversation.
Peace.